what are some of the creative ways in which applicants cheat?
This is maybe the first question I ask every time we hire interns.
What do you folks do? I am always confused when I am, kind of giving an assessment, that whether to focus on just getting the test cases right as fast as possible, or do I also make sure that the quality of my code is good?
So we crack the code, you type character by character.
Okay. Any funny stories of a high stakes contest, kind of crashing down due to...
They told this is the participant count and we did some math on how much traffic we will get. What we didn't know, or what we realized it later, is it's a team contest of 3 people.
Oh, do you think there is maybe a thing or a two that are still broken?
Being more transparent to the candidates, that I think has not been solved even today.
How do you go about learning new technologies?
Eventually, it's all about try to build something.
What would you suggest to a moderately motivated person to go about learning AI?
Make the chat interface your teacher.
Okay.
And make the programming interface your drawing board.
I heard you say that if you were to start again, maybe you wouldn't take this path.
If I had known how hard it is, I probably have a lot of respect for second-time entrepreneurs now. It is a stressful job on a good day. If things go really good, it's stressful. If things go really bad, it's stressful, because in one way or other, things keeps on breaking.
First of all, Hari, welcome and thank you so much for taking out the time. I understand that, running such a big company is no piece of cake, and you did take out a few hours and came here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me here. Excited for this conversation.
Sure. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it turns out to be the way that you're expecting it to be. The name of our podcast, Hari, is On Point, aka the OP podcast.
Okay.
We just like jumping to the point. What I want to talk about first is you're in the industry that helps companies hire developers. Is that the right way to put it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you must be dealing with a lot of, kind of online assessments, getting interviews done. What I want to ask about is, what are some of the creative ways in which applicants cheat?
Okay, that's a forever, I think, a cat and mouse game. If I have to look back, I was once told, this was in an in-person setup. Forget remote world.
Okay.
This is before the pandemic. There was a company which went for a campus hiring, where the online test was happening in one building.
Okay.
You clear, you succeed.
All right.
And then you go to the interview to the other building.
All right. So typically how, campus placements
Yes.
work. Yeah.
But the person who took the test was not the person who was giving the interview.
Oh my God.
Within that, the person swapped, right? And now, of course, there is all the things about, like, is there someone behind the screen? I was once told that there was a company which is ready to take tests on behalf of others.
Okay.
And they were giving clear instructions saying, sit here, you don't have to type anything in the editor, but also don't not type anything at all. So keep moving your mouse and stuff. Your remote tools which you use TeamViewer and even with Zoom, you have a remote control.
Okay.
So there is a whole lot of things, and this is maybe the first question I ask every time we hire interns. It's like, hey, tell me how cheating happens what do you folks do? What happens in college? And generally, so we get a collective answer. There is also a whole lot of Telegram groups which gets created whenever there is an online contest. Immediately there is a Telegram group where answers are discussed. We join the Telegram group these days to see what's happening, and then we had to build a watermark feature in the product, so that if you take a screenshot and put it in the group, at least we know where did it come from, and we can at least reject them and so on. I would want to believe that I don't know the full answer of this, because every time I feel like I've caught up with this, there is an interesting way in which people figure out some hack. With people try to cheat with AI, we try to detect them with AI. Now there is a Chrome extension people can install which can automatically solve the question.
They don't even have to change the tab.
Yeah,
is
they
what
don't
you're
even
saying,
have to change the tab.
because otherwise I think you
We
can
do
easily add
tab
detection
detection.
when the tab is changed.
Yes, now we have to now check whether the extension is there or whether the window size is, your browser size is same as the second monitor, a person sitting next to them with a book, where are they looking at, like there is a whole lot of signals we had to do, and all of this we had to do real quick immediately after the pandemic. So that was a fun challenge, actually, where we it felt like we discovered more and more as we solved more and more. And even now I don't think it's a problem
That has been fully solved.
Like
Right.
there is always, and it's one of those things I believe like it can never be solved. It's like you keep increasing the hurdles at to a point where even like one of the things we're working on is like the question is going to be dynamic. So even multiple choice question, if A plus B is C, not everyone gets to see the same A plus B.
Okay.
So, and the answers are shuffled. So even in a multiple choice question, like people tell the answer, oh, this is the first choice. You may not get the same number, and a lot of things which goes behind that.
I think this kind of cheating that you are suggesting too, where telegram groups are made, or people ask each other somehow, that is probably happening when there is a campus hiring event.
Yes.
Or a mass hiring event where lots of people are given the same test, and the date of the test and everything is public beforehand, right?
Yes.
That is one thing, one part of it. A couple of ways that I can understand from what you are saying, that dynamic MCQs, having a watermark in the screenshot, that if the person is taking a screenshot and putting it in some group hoping to get the answer, you would know that who is trying to cheat.
Yes.
So based on the intent to cheat, you will reject that.
We'll start rejecting, and we'll
candidate.
hopefully identify those people.
Right, right. The second kind of cheating is that when, let's say I apply to maybe any random company I apply to, if I'm taking a an online assessment, then of course like somebody could be on a Zoom call with me behind the scenes, and I would have probably shared my screen, and then maybe the person that is helping me is a lot better at coding than I am, and then they are dictating me, and then I am taking the test. Or even better, I think if proctoring is not there, then somebody else can only take the test on behalf of me.
Yes.
So that is something that I wanted to talk about. Like, has this also kind of increased over a period of time? Number one,
it's increased because the remote assessments and remote interviews have increased a lot. And what do you do if the candidate says, "Hey, my webcam stopped working"? Like, do you want to reschedule the interview? Do you want to reject the candidate? Do you want to give them the benefit of the doubt? One of the internal things, and this is a company value for Hackerrank, is being developer first. So you can add a lot of hurdles, but at some point developers start disliking your platform itself. Like, oh, if you just look here once, and then if you block that assessment, or if you give a pop-up, it may not be ideal. But if you're constantly looking somewhere, and then it looks like someone is prompting you, is a different kind of a signal. So internally we have actually two teams. One is called our assessment integrity team, and other is called a developer experience team.
They have to work.
They have to work hand in hand. They have to do a push pull. Oh, I did a small alt tab, and then it's showing this error. Yes, it has to show this error because this is how people are cheating. I think that's what the core where we still are developer friendly, but if somebody else is taking the test on your behalf, some of the things is we do have an option to get that question in the interview.
Okay.
And the recommendation, you have an option to import that as the first thing.
Right.
Like, could you explain this?
Right. So it could be like a kind of a warm up for the interview. In the first 5 minutes, let's just check, did you cheat? And
you cheat? And then it shows up. It clearly shows up, like saying, okay, looks like you didn't even write it. Like, how do you not know dynamic programming if you've written a dynamic programming and done that, right? So the concept at least you'll be able to tell. If people tell like, oh, I completely forgot, I don't understand the concept.
If the person has actually solved the problem without any cheating, I don't think that they should just be able to tell the concept. They should be clearly able to explain
it's my code,
the
right?
thought process.
Yes. So those things companies have adopted those as well.
Right.
So it's
Yeah, I
a
think
it's a
that's a good way.
Yeah.
Let's catch them afterwards.
Afterwards in the interview
In the
run.
interview. Yeah. So yeah, that is one. Second thing, what do you do that if during an interview they are on another call with somebody and somehow they have cracked that the interviewer can't hear to what you are talking to with the other person, and the other person is dictating in your earphones that this is the answer to this. How do you catch that? Has always kind of I've thought about that. How will companies kind of track this?
I in fact audio is one. So or rather that the assessment is getting more and more closer to identifying what your video and audio stream is. In fact, there is I'm missing the name of the software which actually can send a video stream as if you're looking into the camera.
Oh my god.
And then you don't have to be there, and it sends like it does the, so you can play a video as your webcam stream.
Okay.
And so if you just record yourself nodding and typing here for an hour,
so
and then you can use it for every single
for assessment they are said, but not for interview.
Not for interviews. Interviews is a lot better because you do get the science of it. There is like every time is there a lag, and like when you ask a question, that question has to go somewhere else, and then someone has to do it. It looks like, we have seen all of this in movies where there is a spy who's sent with a earpiece and you're able to listen and talk types. But in interview there is a fair amount of it's not super clear, but you get the sign because there is a person right there, and every question has a X amount of lag. And I have seen some of the candidates also, when they're speaking, like the eyeball movement goes from here to here, here to here, and they are giving a very neat, detailed answer with all possible cases. But why is it? Why is like this? Like something is off, and I don't want to call them out. But when in doubt, you don't want to. That there is no doubt. Like you don't want to really take them ahead. So we say possible this. I don't want to take the risk. Maybe we'll say no to the candidate.
You don't want to kind of confront them and put them in the embarrassing situation, but you don't want to take them ahead in the process as well.
So sometimes they do get the no. They don't know that they are caught, but or they're in that risk zone, and so these things come up very, very easily.
Got it. The other thing that I've always thought about is I am always confused when I am kind of giving an assessment, that whether to focus on just getting the test cases right as fast as possible, or do I also make sure that the quality of my code is good, the variable names that I'm using are kind of readable. Like, does that matter, or it varies from company to company?
It varies from company to company, and maybe it also varies from the first screening assessment you give and the interview, because for most parts companies might be looking just at the score, and it's also a supply and demand problem. Like, so if you have 1,000 people applying, and if you have only say 5 recs open, and first of the 1,000 some 100 people have got full score, the full score is enough for them to take them to the next filter round. So, and for Hackerrank, if you get a full score, whether you use a variable with a good name or not doesn't really matter. But if only one person got full score and they have to hire 5, they may go start looking into the code to identify, like, how do I get more? So it comes from, especially in campus hires, they generally go with here is the number of people we would want to hire. And even in lateral hiring, the number of people who apply and how many roles I have plays a role. And it's like, do I have the bandwidth to look at the code? If 10,000 people apply, nobody is going to have the time to go and look into the code. But in interview round, it's a little different, because I'm right there, because we power both screen and interview. So in the screen side, it's okay. Again, IJK is okay, and then you don't really, even the function we ask you to complete, we give reasonable names, just stick to it. But you don't have to really document it, or you don't have to really comment and stuff. For this first round, maybe people are not looking into it at all.
Or maybe I think, Acha, tell me one small thing now I'm thinking. So let's say I have question 1. I run out test cases, I submit, and all the test cases are done. Passed. Second question, run all test cases, everything passed, submit. I don't submit the test, but the questions are submitted.
Yeah.
Now I go back, okay, I have already submitted the questions. What's the harm in making the code better? Or what's the harm in adding a few comments? So the time corresponding to the completion of the questions will be the first submit, or when I actually submit the whole test, will that matter?
I think in our product the time doesn't matter, like, because it's
okay, the time doesn't
the
matter.
time, you have to do it within the time.
Oh, okay.
The time matters in contests, when we conduct coding contests,
Right, when the leaderboard is
leaderboard and other stuff is there, the time matters. But for the hiring platform, it's like, oh, you've solved it in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, doesn't really matter. We don't surface that to in our reports.
Yes, that is what I was asking, that the recruitment team is not shared that.
Yeah, and they're not shared that. They don't. They it's not a, or they have it. It's like, it's not a primary filter factor.
Right.
It comes as one of the columns in the Excel sheet if they go ahead and download. But in the UI, it's not like it's a FYI, not a filtering factor. Yeah, the resubmit is a feature which I worked on it early days. So people, while changing the code, making it better, make a compilation error.
Make a compilation error.
Yeah, there's like, I'm changing the variables.
But then they forget to change all occurrences.
They don't even do the run test again. They just submit it.
Okay.
So then we had to go like, what do we do about this?
Right.
So, or they are trying to change it and the timer runs out.
Right.
So there are different corner cases we had to deal with.
Because they have submitted the correct code, but the final state of the code is not correct.
Not correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes the final state is correct, but so sometimes better.
Right, but they did not get the time to submit it
due to whatever. So which one do you give preference, and how do you go about it? Then we said, okay, if they got it right, let's give the preference for that.
Got it.
And if they get a higher score in the subsequent things, then we'll go ahead and do that. Or otherwise, we actually pick the last highest score.
Okay.
So that the idea is like, oh, you may have improved it again.
Okay.
So I'm not going to give preference to the first one, the last highest score.
I did not understand that. So what do you mean by last highest score?
So you may have submitted multiple times.
Right.
So if you have submitted 3 times, your third time you submitted, which got the maximum score among all of those.
Okay.
So if you first time itself you got full score.
Okay.
You go ahead, change it again. Second time you do full score.
Okay.
Third time also you get full score.
Okay.
Fourth time you do compilation and get 0.
Let's say fifth time you again get full score.
Full score. Then that becomes the last.
So
highest
you're saying
score.
Out of the highest, the state that will be shared
is the last.
Is the last state which got the highest score. Got it.
So because we have seen people happen like, oh man, like you're typing this and looks like a half a sentence is done and your timer ran out type. So we do want to give them a chance. And
but why does it matter which state of the highest score you share? Score is score, right? Do you mean
we also show the code.
The code, only that code will be sent to the...
Or which one do we consider for your submission? Like what do we treat as
for your report, like whatever report you kind of...
Yeah, this is the code you submitted. Sometimes people keep on typing without even running code, without even submitting. So then we keep whatever is the last state we can recover from that.
So let's say somebody kind of scored 80 out of 100 at some point in the test. And then in the last, maybe they completed the code. Of course, if they've almost completed the code, maybe you can't do anything about that. But if they have actually completed the code, it's just that they could not get to the button. Do you also run all test cases on the final state of the code automatically, or do you only do that if the candidate has actually clicked on the button?
We do it if you have never clicked on the button, because it's like you've never saved anything, but you have typed so much, we do it.
Right.
But if you have intentionally submitted one
before,
then that gets a higher preference, because we want to respect your decision of submitting an answer more than typing something else, because you randomly typing can also lead to compilation errors.
No, but then that would... No, if you are anyway taking the last highest score, if the previous submission was anyway the higher score than this last state, then it would anyway get the preference based on the last highest score.
Yeah, so I think right now what we do is we may not be running, or I don't know how many corner cases we go into.
Okay. I think we have gotten too much into details.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll cut something out of this. But let me zoom out a little bit. If you can share, when we are giving a assessment, everybody take it with a pinch of salt. You don't have to be, correct in all the cases. In a generic 70-80% cases, what are the things that do matter? Score is one, definitely, right?
So, I mean, score is one, the actual code you wrote, and even the path of the code, like how did so we track the code you type character by character.
Okay.
There is a bunch of, for a particular test case, so then every problem also has bunch of test cases. So if you have 10 test cases, all the test cases and how much time it took and how much memory it took is something we share. We also share, like how much time you took comes up in the Excel report, like it's a data which is there.
But it is not there in the...
It's not a filterable primary main
it's
thing.
not on the UI as in the dashboard as you said. It's not probably
there.
The more detailed report.
Some companies do questions based on sections, like I want to have a section A, section B, and then the section wise score. I want people to score so much in aptitude and so much in programming,
and maybe so much overall.
So that so much overall. They have cutoff in both the sections. We do send a lot of like integrity signals, which is like how many times did you switch, where all did you paste code, what are the code which is very similar to the code which is taken for the same test. So that test, if your code, and we earlier used to use this algorithm called MOS, and now which compares code similarity. And then now we have improved it much better, where we have our own custom script on not just the final state of the code, the path which the code took.
Got it.
Based on that, we could say person A and person B, their code looks very, very similar. And you may want to look at it as well. So a bunch of integrity signals also goes into this.
So when you say similarity score, you mean comparing it with the other applicants who give the same
test for the same company.
Got it. All right, let's come to the next part now, Hari, unless you have anything else to add in this part.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Good, right? The next part that I want to talk about is that I started engineering in 2017. When I went first to the college, Hackerrank was seen as one of the go-to platforms to practice DSA, competitive programming, that there is this project Euler, which is still there probably, I don't know. But correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole image of Hackerrank being a learning platform or practicing platform has lost out over time is what I feel. Do you agree with that it has been impacted to some extent, or is that not the case?
I think we've evolved, like for sure. There used to be a lot more contests that time, and you used to win prizes and other things. Companies used to conduct their online hackathons and other stuff on the platform. The learning bit, I think, remained the same. It's just that earlier you could learn the basic algorithm DS and you could also participate with the companies. Today you do have to go to somewhere else to do that part. But yes, certainly it's remained the same, or it hasn't improved, or it stagnated. Any one of that you could use.
Got it. Yeah, it hasn't grown further. Maybe it's stagnated. Yeah. So like what is it? Like it doesn't align with the business goals, or do you need someone like me to read the effort?
Yeah. For sure, I think there is, so Hackerrank internally, we have two major teams or products.
Correct.
One we call internally, we call it the Hackerrank community, which is the product where you could go learn, you could even conduct contests on that platform for free. We don't make any money out of that. And then there is the B2B side of things, where we sell this platform to other businesses, and that comes with lot more integrity features, lot more our own question library, and a whole lot of things. I think starting, we were focusing on both, and it's actually, it was a challenge, or are we this or we that, but at some point at the start of the pandemic, the B2B took off so very well. Everyone was doing online assessments. Earlier, remote interviewing was not even a concept,
right?
Because if getting them on site, one full day back-to-back interviews was the pattern.
But this is so much more efficient.
It feels efficient now, but nobody was willing to do it even that time.
Maybe because of the fear of cheating that we still
The interview process I'm talking about.
yeah, in the interview process also
cheating
can
in
happen,
there.
right? Yeah.
Or if you get them to office, why would I use a tool? I would just talk to them, use a whiteboard, and
Yeah, of course, if you get them to the office, then that is not necessary. But if you do want to do remote, then that is necessary. And then if you do want to do it remote, then the fear of cheating.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So this whole thing changed over the pandemic, and we had to completely focus there. Now we are relooking at our community to say, like, what should it look like? It's crazy. It has about total 24 million developers, and like 500,000 developer practice every month.
Monthly active users are
It's 5.5 million.
Yeah.
So now we are looking at, should it be a learning platform? Should it be a there is always this, like, Hackerrank can never be lead code, because lead code gives the actual questions. And we are fighting with lead code to make sure they don't give our questions out. Right? Like, they take screenshots of our platform and put it out there. And we actually want to help job seekers, but not by letting them cheat, or not by giving them the actual questions. So we are building our products in our community, so that when you're looking for a job, how can you use our developer community? The learning part is still there, and it will still be there. We'll retain it forever for free. But the job search part, it's not even viable to give it for free, because there is a lot of AI and tools we have built on that. So that's what the path is going towards. So more than learning, how does this product help you, either your final year or third year in college, or every time when you're looking for a new job, what are the tools you could have? What are the companies? And again, because Hackerrank has all the companies which are recruiting, your work in community could be surface that into the companies and recommend you to the companies. So those are the things we are working on now.
Got it. But yeah, like the times when you were conducting kind of contests and all, any funny stories of a high stakes contest kind of crashing down due to high traffic?
High stakes contest, yeah. So we powered this IEEE extreme contest.
Okay.
This was the very first time they were it's a 24-hour contest. And they launch a question every hour.
Okay.
And they told, this is the participant count, and we did some math on how much traffic we will get, and we tested like probably a 1.5x of that.
Okay.
But what we didn't know, or what we realized it later, is it's a team contest of 3 people.
Oh, then
and they are
times 3.
It's 3 times, and we had done our 1.5x. The contest started and things failed. Okay, I was on the laptop. The entire engineering team was behind me. During when the system was down, we our entire team, including Vivek and their IEEE extreme team, we were all on a Skype call, and every 2 minutes they will ask, like, hey, what's the update? And Vivek would ping me saying, what's the update? And like, I'm still working on it, trying to see what's coming up. That 20 minutes, I think I aged a lot more than anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Yeah. So what I want to know about now is that we've talked about DSA and all, right? Do you believe hiring people on the basis of their DSA skills is still effective? Do you ask for DSA when you hire in your?
We do. I mean, it's more coding than clear DSA at this point. So when I hire candidates, they solve a question. Maybe it will not involve, like, okay, we don't have to implement a dynamic programming or a BFS or a DFS, but
it's more logic based.
It's more logic. There is a corner case which they will have to debug it. So I want them to write like 50-60 lines of code, and I want that code to have a bug or a corner case, and I want them to fix that bug.
Okay.
This is the entire path. So it could be,
or not do the bug in the first go.
It's I do want them to. I would want to have the bug because
so see how
the debugging skills is there. It's sometimes because mainly software development requirements keeps on changing. So I would rather even have a second question, which is like, oh, the previous question, you know what?
Right.
I said there is no
Follow.
negative numbers.
Yeah.
Now the negative numbers is in picture.
Right.
Now how would you change your code?
Right.
So the evolution of the code is a lot more important for
understand.
me than like you're getting it right all on the first go or not. So predominantly in just screening, yes, you could give I would call it coding question more than algo DS, which makes you write enough code and test your logical skills, test your error handling skills, and I'm able to make a idea about like what are the things you're good at and bad at.
Got it.
And then I can, like I mentioned earlier, you take the same question in the interview, now change the constraint, change the corner case, and take it from there. So even the interview is more effective because I like your 60 to 100 lines of code is already there,
Right.
and we are starting from that point. I'm able to check for the whether you wrote the code or not. So predominantly it's are you able to get those software engineering principles in this? That's what we test for more than the like, oh, now algo DS is bad.
I understand. Let me discuss with you this thing, right? That rather than having a kind of a hypothetical question which probably will never going to be present in a practical scenario in the company, right? What about you have a small part of the actual code base of the company or something which is very, very similar to an actual scenario that they would experience when they'll actually join the company, and then ask them to fix a bug in that?
We are trying this.
We
are calling it this real world challenges, or it's more than the implementation. This needs more commitment from the candidates, because they have to take time to understand the code base which we are sharing. Could you just give a single function and so so we are creating sample GitHub repositories, and if you take people who are working professionals, they don't have a lot of time to give all these assessments, and maybe they have an hour, they have 2 hours, and that's what they want to spend. And what you're talking about is like almost like a project where you're able to understand how things are written, and if people have time to give, sure, it works great, and we are able to identify their core skills. But if they don't, some candidates may be like, okay, I don't have the time to put in for these many things. I would maybe go with a company which doesn't even give assessments, or I would go with a company which gives a simple coding assessment. I'm able to do it, just that I don't have the time to do it. That comes up as a hurdle. It actually is a primary hurdle in I would call it candidates market, where every company was hiring. Then it was the company's market, and we were able to make them do it. Now looks like there is a balance. So it's not too bad. It's not too super crazy as well. So I think it's at a stage where we do have to figure out how much time they have to put in for that. That's giving. We are making again fake repositories with some problems injected in it, rather than the company's code itself.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Like that's not what I always meant, because sometimes they may not even be comfortable exposing the code like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I meant as close as we can get to
The
a
real world. Yeah.
But yeah, maybe even more than the, of course, the assessment is okay, but maybe the interviews could be like that, right? That even if you don't have 5 hours, you just have 2 hours, then the interviewer, even if the person is not able to completely solve the bug, how they approach the whole thing within those 2 hours is also going to tell a lot about the developer to the interviewer, because then there will be a real person who's evaluating how they're approaching.
Yeah.
Do you think there is maybe a thing or a two that are still broken even after presence of Hackerrank that you do want to fix? They are in your pipeline, but you think they are broken right now?
I think hiring process being a black box is something which, if you don't get a response, like you are waiting, like it's a problem somehow I do want to solve. The company has to respond to you on whether you did the test well. after the interview you got to hear from them, and there is nothing for the candidates to go and get an update from. If I order something in Amazon, I know where it is, when I'm going to get it, and what time it will
Application
reach.
tracking system.
Yeah, application tracking system for candidates.
Yeah.
Right, like which is candidate friendly.
I think it may be present already for companies.
Yes, companies use it. Companies use
but
like
for
Greenhouse, Liver, they all use it. But candidates they don't get a no itself.
Right.
Like many a time it's like, oh, I reached out, got no response, I'm gonna assume it as a no. I somehow want it to be a no to be a no, and yes to be an yes.
No, but doesn't companies send this automated email that we carefully reviewed and you are not good for the role, or is that something?
It's
only some
not
of the
across
companies do?
all.
Okay.
And they probably do it after, like I told the whole process. They do it after the rec is closed.
Okay.
Till then they keep everyone in the pipeline.
All right.
So it's like, okay, we don't know, or we have decided maybe no. But for whatever reason, it is a black box.
Yeah, still, even if they send this email, then
Yes.
also there are a lot of other pieces of information that
Yeah.
could be shared for more transparency.
Yeah.
For example, when you apply,
Hmm.
I think there is this thing in Meta. A friend was telling me that if you apply through a referral, they have to get back to you within 10 business days.
Yeah.
But he told
Yeah.
me. So the timeline that they are defining, that
Mhm.
some person will get back to you within 10 days with the proper
Mhm.
email that specifically for me, why was I rejected, or why am I gonna go for the interview? There are definitely a bunch of things that are missing. I agree.
Yeah, that one. And maybe from the company side, how can companies give better preparatory material for candidates? And what can they put it out in public? Like it's not once you apply, it's almost like a need basis. Here is the next round, this is what the next round will be, and this is what we would ask. If you clear it, here is the n+1 round, you need to know it. But why not publish the entire hiring process or a blueprint of the process, so that
Right.
it will help the industry overall, right? Like companies can learn from what works for others and what doesn't work for others. So being more candidate friendly and being more transparent to the candidates, that I think has not been solved even today.
Right. I agree with you. In fact,
Yeah.
I tell my students as well that, or me myself also used to do it in college, that of course you do practice in general and all, but when you are interviewing for a particular company, you do some targeted practice as well. So I think that is what you are saying. You do targeted practice.
And companies can be in a place where they can take ownership of the targeted practice, so they know what to put out and what not to put out. So it's like I could in Hackerrank, if as I'm thinking about it, if I have to put one, it's like, we may not ask complex algo DS, but we will make you write enough code. And because what I want to look at is this, and like all the things I told in this just some time back, like I want you to make a mistake and debug. So don't panic if you don't get the test cases right. It's okay, but are you able to identify the hidden test case, and you're based on the error message you are showing, are you able to figure out like why your code might be wrong? So that's, I could put it out anywhere, and it's like it's not being a black box. On the question you started with, do I need to comment or not? I'm gonna say I don't even look at the code. I just look at the score. You don't have to waste your time on comment. That there are processes.
That is very, very fair.
Yeah.
In fact, of course, that helps me. That where do I focus on for that particular assessment?
Yes.
It's not like I don't know how to write code. It's that whether to write codes or whether to write comments or not.
Yes, that's where the companies can be more transparent and make the candidate less nervous or less like ambiguous situations for the candidates. I wish that's more transparent, saying this is what we are going to look at.
I think I do understand.
Yeah.
Got it. As we were talking about this, Hari, that before Hackerrank, you did try a bunch of other things. I think one of the things that you did try was a mock interviewing platform, as far as I remember. I think I heard Vivek say in an interview with Y Combinator that you used to probably charge rupees 350 from the candidates and pay 200 rupees to the interviewer, and then the rest was. I often think that why hasn't there been a scalable or a big company built out of this? What do you think were challenges then, and what do you think, are there any challenges now? What's stopping somebody to do that now, or is it that there are already companies that I don't know of?
there are few companies which there is one company I'm missing, not able to recollect the name, which is doing this in US, but
doing what exactly? Mock
mock
interviews?
interviews.
All right.
But it's super costly. Like it's
Okay.
like call it, I don't know, $300 or $500 per interview.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, and with AI now possibly, we are working on a mock interview as a job seeker experience, a mock interview, which is doing an amazing job in coding, front end, back end, and system design mock interview. And this is all through, right? It's a lot of prompt engineering, but we are able to reach to a state where I'm enjoying those interviews, right? Like I'm giving interviews and I'm enjoying it.
That is why I asked this question, that because with AI, like that could be a product where the cost could be brought down significantly if somebody wants to give mock interviews. And I also tried one of the platforms recently myself, and I was like, the interviewer is asking me questions that I wouldn't expect from a good engineer as well.
Yes, yeah, it's come up. The why it didn't pick up so much, there is a cost factor. Also, good software engineers are always busy. First, they have to take interviews for their own company.
Yeah.
And post that, their free time, you're asking them to take more interviews. Nobody likes that job. Like no matter how much you want to pay them, it is a chore, which now probably the AI has taken it really well and is able to ask more relevant questions.
Right.
So the right interviewers in itself was a challenge, to ask them, saying, oh, instead of spending time with your family, instead of watching a movie, can you take a mock interview?
Right.
Was not really a ideal setup. There is a lot of platform where people are giving advices, mentorship, and there are quite a bit of them, because that feels more connect and more meaningful.
It feels less of a work also.
Yes.
For the person who is coming on a call.
Yes.
Then in a mock interview they have to be on their toes, evaluate every single minute. It's like they're just having a conversation here, right?
They have to give a detailed feedback at the end. It takes up in the mock interview, right? So that's the interviewer side of thing. There was not enough supply, and if you had to create a supply, the cost was going so much that candidates were not willing.
And I think it's a problem of arbitrage also. It's like the person who is looking for a job, who is not in a job. Of course, there could be lateral hiring as well, but in general, a person who is looking for a job is the one who has to pay.
Yeah.
They'll probably want to pay less.
Yeah.
Versus a person who you want to take the interview who is already in a good paying job,
Yes.
they'll expect
a lot more. Yeah, the math doesn't add up there.
I understand that. Did you ever think of exploring the edtech industry? For example, we talked about this, I think, a few minutes back as well, that, on learning side of the things. For example, you are already helping, kind of companies hire. Why not also help students upskill and, of course, charge something? For example, I don't know if you find this relevant or not. Interview Bit was initially in a similar phase as Hackerrank, right? They had a platform. They are also kind of helping companies hire, and then they kind of launch their own academy. Like, have you ever thought of that?
We maybe not an edtech company, and I don't even know if I can call it a edtech platform. We do have
it could be a leg of.
We are doing something called a product called SkillUp.
SkillUp.
Yeah, which is within companies where employees can go ahead and upskill themselves.
All right.
So again, it has that B2B lens, whereas it's not for everyone. So
could be that you have gotten so kind of comfortable with B2B now that you don't want to kind of.
Also, it's like we have, that's where we can try it out first.
Right.
You can fine tune the product first, and then you can get it to B2C is on your own, right? Like you got to figure everything on your own with data and metrics. So this product.
Okay, so you mean getting feedback? Sorry,
getting feedback
is easier in B2B.
Yes,
because you are directly connected to your limited number of customers rather than the
B2C is
you're trying to make sense of the aggregated data.
Yes, and they give directed feedback in a meeting, an interview, what their problem is. You could go. Sometimes it feels like we sit in their company and we want to work with them and understand how their engineers work.
Right.
So this is a product where, if you want to find out, like for example, take some of our services company like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, they have developers also learning on their own. And this is again where we are not teaching them,
Okay.
but we can tell them, a lot of your developers they know Android. If you ever have an Android project, you could just make a team out of these developers and give them a chance. Like, these people have taken an Android assessment within your company.
Yeah, but like the question that I kind of think of is that what is the kind of, like, why would somebody go out of their way to take that assessment on the SkillUp platform?
Because in the services industry, it's a little different. You want to get better projects.
All right. Okay.
And
okay.
you are probably doing say C++,
Okay, I
and
understand.
you want to get a project which deals with Python.
To get a project that I am in the stack that I'm actually interested in, or I am actually good at, so that I get a chance to maybe prove myself, or
Yes. Yeah.
enjoy the work even more.
Yes. Or you have your dream project you want to work with that needs AI skills, that need new skills. So there is always that how do I showcase my skills, because these companies are generally creating teams based on skills.
Right.
It's like, this is what my take a services company. They would have their customer who would want a project in, we want a project with Ruby on Rails, React, and we also want iOS app, and we also want an Android app. Give me your best talent, and we are ready to pay so much more for your best talent. So that's where this seamlessly works. They're saying, I'm able to identify the skills within my own company, where, especially services company, there are people on the bench, right? Like, you have
I've heard of that, but
and these are people without projects. You need to have that, so that if a new customer comes in, you can deploy them.
Right.
And and when they are on the bench, it's not like you're not giving them anything. You're constantly upskilling them with new technologies.
Right.
Whatever is the new thing which may come up with.
So that kind of also becomes a part of their job description, that when you're on the bench, you upskill and maybe do these assessments on.
And now, so upskilling happens by watching the videos.
Okay.
But then the certification, or like, how do you prove that you have done that, happens through Hackerrank.
Got it. Understood. And the videos will be part of that SkillUp, or that is something
that actually it's not part of SkillUp now.
Okay.
We are trying not to create the content. The content is there everywhere. Take YouTube, there is Udemy, Udacity, Pluralsight. All of them have the content.
Maybe you could recommend, but not.
Yeah, we could recommend this, and here is the assessment you have to take. Based on this particular video, if you watched, here is the assessment you should take. So we are in our, this is our strength, and we also believe in evaluating or learning by doing, more than here is a video which you watch on how to create a React app. Understood. So even if we do things, we may not be video. It's like, here is the project, go ahead and fix it, or this is the solution, learn from the solution. That's how it might be.
Got it. With the AI angle that you were talking about, Hari, right? That you're also exploring mock interview. Could you also explore, like, for example, assessment is there, right? Then humans are kind of like, employees of the companies are taking interviews. Let's say the company is, taking maybe 4 interviews. Is it possible that the first round of interviews could be replaced by an AI round?
It's possible. There is recently some new laws which came in, which said AI should not be the decision maker in the hiring and whatnot. So AI
is not a decision maker. AI is just taking the interview, giving bunch of like a report that's as you are sharing, and then based on that report, some actual person is deciding whether to.
It falls in the gray area, right? Because who gives you the metrics? So far, because the score is clear, like in coding questions, it's like you pass the test case, you fail the test case.
There's no AI involved.
Yeah. So with AI involved, you need to be, but it's not too far away. But like we are again evaluating the mock interviewer we are doing. If you could add some different characteristics to it, can actually be the interviewer. It's the mock interviewer has the persona which is trying to help, and at the end tells you this is what you did bad. The interviewer is going to tell the company whether I would hire this person or not. So, and if the bot can actually monitor all the integrity signals as well.
Right.
Like, is there, like, if you turn the video on, is there any background person or someone else is as well speaking? And all of this can be processed through AI. It's easy.
Right.
It's this one, I think, is a matter of time. It's as the models get better and better, and even as the voice mode, like you're able to talk to the system and listen back to the system, gets better and better. It's right there.
Yeah, but like, why do you think that particular law is there that AI cannot be
I think
the decision maker?
the New York, I think it's the law which is passed in New York.
Okay, so it's not US wide.
It's not US has like they have their own, states can pass their own law.
State
right?
laws,
Yeah. So this is where maybe it's a part of this Google earlier tried to have AI decide whether they should hire a person or not.
Is that so? I don't know.
Yeah, and they stopped the project because it had all the biases human had. So if you have always hired people from IITs,
okay,
you've used that to give your model that data to
of
train
course,
the model.
like, whatever you are giving as the training data, but if that training data has biases, definitely I think the model
so
will
but
also have biases.
and we humans can at some point we know how to course correct biases.
Okay.
But once you train this and let it loose, it's gonna just take that way. And so I believe Google had to internally, they announced saying they're pausing this because it is having a whole lot of biases which we have, but which we want to reduce.
So it's like saying that we are more intelligent than the AI, so we will be able to correct it.
Yeah, we have given AI bad data and it's gonna run that way, and yeah, we trained it with wrong data.
Got it. So yeah, like while we're on the subject of the AI, maybe let's take it there. Of course, one part of it is that a mock interview or maybe a pre-screening AI interview, but other than that, I'm not saying using AI in the process, but what I'm saying is just the existence of AI as a very powerful tool or a very powerful technology that is out there for everybody to use. How has it impacted the way companies hire? Has it in some way, or do you think everything is same only? The expectation is what I'm kind of.
I think in some level, every developer can be now more productive. So there is a lot of the boring tasks which you got to do again and again and again can be done by AI.
Can you give a couple of examples?
So if I have to create a web app, I need to create login and sign up. I want to build a Hackerrank, but login, sign up, reset password is a boring functionality I have to build. I've built it for every single app I've built in. Could
or even if you don't have like hundreds, thousands of
standard features, the table stakes,
millions of developers out there have built it already.
Yeah, built it already. And if you whenever you show a report, download a CSV. It's like, okay, this is a standard functionality I built it, filters in the report and whatnot. So, but I think it's too early to trust the code generated by AI. So we are becoming smarter code reviewers rather than actually typing the code because it's out there filled for us. So it's code review is not when you create the pull request or when you create the merge request, it happens, change request. It just actually is like while you are writing code, you are constantly reviewing someone giving you the code, which means now you can spend more time on the core parts of the business, core parts of the problem which you are solving. The other parts gets done soon, but even but still you are under control. You can't like you have that part.
It's like every doesn't matter if it is a junior developer or a mid developer or a senior developer. They've just gotten an intern with them, but they're still responsible for it. It's still an intern.
Yes, still. Now with this setup though, there is a possibility that you don't need same number of developers which you earlier needed to build a project. So if you have needed 10 people, maybe you need five, maybe 5, or maybe you need 8 at the start, and then it goes to 5, and then it goes to 3 as well,
Okay.
because it doesn't have to stay at 10 for building the common patterns. So that's where I think maybe in few years it's not going to take away the job, but you don't need that many developers. Not sure like what changes, like it's anyone's guess. How things evolve. What is the part we would be working on? Then would we be more like everyone is just doing prompt engineering and building that AI brain more than, or everyone is on the AI side? So software developer and AI ML engineer, it earlier used to be, oh, one is so math, you need to know probabilities and you need to know all the graphs and curves. This one you need to know React, you need to know database, you need to know how to caching works and stuff. Maybe they will merge all, and you need to know that part, and that is what we'll be doing a lot more rather than the app part itself.
Understand, because of course, like what you are essentially saying is that maybe the demand for AI ML engineers will increase, and the standard full stack developer will probably
the standard full stack developer will be doing AI ML. Like,
okay.
It's the roles are merged.
You're saying that will be the new definition of the what we call an AI engineer today is what the skill set of a standard full stack developer may look like.
Yeah, because earlier we had front end developer and back end developer, and then we got full stack, which is the merge of both. Now AI is gonna come into that, and that's the new full stack developer.
Right. Yeah, of course. Like the very similar thing I was discussing with Anshuman as well. That nowadays, when you look at the kind of the standard syllabus to kind of prepare for a company, it may be basic computer fundamentals, some DSA, some kind of web development, and then you're done. Maybe basics of machine learning will be added as a part of that standard curriculum. Maybe I don't know when it will happen. Maybe it will become part of the college curriculum as well. Now, of course, it is there in some level, but it is like on the electives basis. That whether you want to choose it or not, but it's not one of the mandatory courses. Got it. Do you code often nowadays, or has it reduced drastically? Of course, it must be reduced drastically. But if you have to put a number, how many hours do you think you code in a week?
In a week, I mean there are. No, it will be very less, maybe 4, 5.
But still, you can.
Yeah, that I can code like 4 or 5 hours. So it generally, there is a lot of
review. Maybe review you do.
Code reviews I still do. Okay. That comes that's a lot more. But actual code typing, there is a lot of one-off scripts I end up writing now. It's like, oh, here is a custom ad hoc script, or this customer is trying to import data from this place. Could you write? And now a lot of it is again generated more than me writing.
I just wanted to ask that, like, what are some of the tools that you have used, and is there a conclusion that you think that this one works best for me?
Now it's Copilot enabled, and then there is I do pay for both, both Claude and GPT. So that I can try out both. There is a point in time it feels like, oh, Claude is better in programming. It feels like this response is better, that response is better, which helps me give some directives to the team, even in the model selection when we actually have to build a product there. So it's one of those things. Earlier I used to carry 2 phones, Android and iPhone, because I wanted to know the good and bad of both. Now I moved to iPhone. Carrying 2 is hard. It became like, one is work, one is professional and personal, and so on. I think, I mean, I say, okay, that battle, I think iPhone won with
so here you have not
here I think yet. there is a third one with DeepSeek, and then there is more. So I think constantly evaluating it will keep you on top of things. So sometimes I would just open up, same prompt goes in both, and I multiple times, and the response also to see. So for sure, even just in the last few months or quarters, the response in which these bots are able to get to the final state of the code is a lot gotten a lot better. Initially, it's like multiple times I was not going anywhere, and it feels like it's not there yet. And now the answers are precise. Even GPT got in this inline editing mode where you give a change and it starts changing the code altogether rather than a new code.
I think it's in beta, if I'm not wrong. Maybe it has changed now, but when I was using it, it was bad.
It was bad. Now it works.
It was, I think,
now
2-3
it
months
works
back. Yeah.
But I think few times when I went and edited the code, then it stops working.
Yeah.
It say like it's not
Right,
there.
right. It just hanged when I was using it.
Got it. So it's that's the tools predominantly I use.
Got it. So yeah, of course, Hari, there are two parts to it, right? One is using AI tools that we have just talked about it. Second is that, of course, with this whole thing, many opportunities have also come up, as we were just talking, right? That learning ML/AI is something that may very soon be part of the standard curriculum.
Yeah.
How do you go about learning new technologies? Have you spent some time trying to understand AI now? Or
Yes. Yeah. It's one is trying to build something like and there are two things there. One is because we have enough developers, enough teams building it, and everyone in Hackerrank have access to all the code base within Hackerrank.
Okay.
So you could just go ahead, open a repo, and start reading what's happening. There are, at least for AI ML, there are others who used to read a lot of research papers. And initially I was at a point where like I don't understand them. So you just start talking with them to say like, what did you learn from this? What is, like
talking to whom?
Like talking to the rest of the engineers who are core to the AI ML.
Got it.
So that's their designated role. Set up some time with them saying, this paper talks a lot about distilling process and I didn't get it. Did you ever read it? And most of the times they have read already because that's their area of interest.
Right.
And then make it, okay, can you make me understand it? And at some point I started using GPT also to tell like, okay, explain this paper to me. And that works sometimes, doesn't work sometimes. But eventually it's all about try to build something. Like if you want to...
Did you do any small project?
Yeah, there is a small project. So I have this... I have a funny bet with a lot of people in my team.
Okay.
Where we all will write a blog once a month. Okay. So we all will... And they will all, so it's going on with like 15-20 people now.
All right.
And it's the start of the month, so everyone will send me links, and then I used to collect all 20 and send it to all 20 again. And then one of the person mentioned like saying,
sorry, collect all 20 and send your link to all 20.
Send the collection of 20 to all the 20.
Okay,
right?
Like, so they are just sending it to you and you will just...
Yeah, I have to collect it, and I'm the coordinator for all of
Understood.
this. And then some folks mention, you know what, I have to click on all of these links, and if I know what they have written about, like if there is a summary of this blog, and I would sometimes go and click on it and read it. If I am interested in programming and entrepreneurship, I'll read things about that.
Understood.
If someone has written about trekking, maybe I will not read about that.
So if there could be a master blog which summarizes each one of them.
So then I ended up creating my own custom prompt, which takes all the set of all the links, and then I wanted to crawl that, create a web application in which it shows all the authors, the blog title, the summary of the blog, and then you could filter, slice and dice, and this happens every month. Link to the blog and all of that. And then I realized, okay, here is what are the limitations of web scraping. Like Medium doesn't allow you to scrape. Medium doesn't allow ChatGPT bot.
Okay.
So GPT can't access this.
Okay.
But I think Anthropic still doesn't obey. I don't know, when I last tested, it doesn't obey the web scraper rule, so it worked better there.
Okay.
And then when you want a response in a JSON object, and how many times you have to tell in the prompt saying, give me JSON, don't give me anything else. This is the structure I want in the JSON. These should be the keys. To a point where like I could have changed the JSON response. I wanted to build an app so that I can copy paste results from there. Like as much as how much can I go ahead and customize this? Where do I leverage system prompt, and what are the advantages of that? What more data can I give? So for example, and how do I remember previous memory of the author, so this person writes on the same concept.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things which you are able to learn by building something internal and
Understood.
simple and funny. So that's how I learn things.
So now is that how you do monthly?
Yeah,
aggregation of,
it's in my website.
blogs?
So everyone
Alright.
would go there and then they check for the monthly one.
Okay.
So and I've been doing this from I think last year some September to every month there is one.
Understood. Got it. So it's mostly like, what I could understand, you read the papers, you
Yeah.
used AI to learn about AI.
Yeah.
Number one, number two is done, and then number three, you just try to build something, and as a part of that, whatever you wanted to understand, maybe you used AI, maybe you used Google to understand, and then get done with what you want.
Reading papers and also reading code written by others
In your
company.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of open source projects yet. Earlier I used to do it that way.
Okay.
Like I learned PHP by reading WordPress code. That's how I got to know the best practices, like, oh, this is how you should do it. I read Wikipedia's code, that is also open source and out there.
Understood.
Those are all good PHP projects.
Right.
For AI and
Now-
prompt engineering,
Now maybe somebody can write DeepSeek's code.
yeah.
Now it is open source.
Yes, yeah. Now maybe yes, you can go ahead and
Last
do that.
September it was not, but now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understood. So yeah, I think of course, like, things are different for you, but what would you suggest to a moderately, kind of motivated person who doesn't have this army of engineers around to take help from, or to do discussions, to go out learning AI? And anything that you can suggest?
Learning AI, if they can afford, I think pay for a subscription and use AI to learn AI.
Okay.
You can ask AI to be your tutor. I've realized this, you have to pay twice, one for your chat GPT kind of thing,
Okay.
and other one for the API access. But API doesn't cost a lot, and again, like DeepSeek
Yeah,
and even
it's very cheaper.
yesterday Google's also is like even cheaper, so it's
Oh,
everyone is
okay.
going lower and lower in price. But have a place where you are able to call it programmatically, and have a place where you are able to use the chat interface. Make the chat interface your teacher,
Okay.
and make the programming interface your drawing board, your playground.
Yeah, your practical aspect of it.
Yeah. So go ahead, build it here, give the code you have written back to the teacher, and you can say teach me, and so on.
Right. Got it. Okay, Hari, I understand that. You have been running Hackerrank for how many years now?
Started this in
2010?
2010 or 2011. So 2010 is that mock interview phase.
Yeah.
Or actually 2009 is when we started.
All right.
2011 is
Interview Street was the name, right?
Yeah, Interview Street, because it's a mock interview and this gives you
I think the name of the company is still Interview Street.
The official, I mean, in the government, that is Interview Street.
The registered name.
Not
the brand.
Yeah, it's still there's no point in going and changing that.
Understood.
2009 to 2011 is that mock interview time.
Yeah. And then you did something else. One more thing you
there
did.
There is also one for similar to connecting people. It's for higher studies.
Right.
For GREs.
Connecting applicants to people who are already studying in those
universities. And then the mock and then the actual assessments is the third platform.
All right.
That we started doing it by 2011.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, it has been good, like 13, 14, 15 years, if I am to recall. When I was interning, of course, like I interned at Hackerrank, that's how I know Hari. I heard you say that if you were to start again, maybe you wouldn't take this path. It's hard, is what you seem to say at the time. Is it the same now, or?
I think it's the same. I think if I had known how hard it is, I probably have a lot of respect for second-time entrepreneurs now.
Okay.
Because the first time you don't know what you are getting into.
Right.
The second time you know how hard it is.
Going to be.
How it is going to be in the future. But like there are some aspects of it, right? Like it is a high-pressure job at the end of the day. And I have 3 titles in the company. I'm the CTO. I'm also the information security officer.
Okay.
And I'm the co-founder.
Right.
Co-founder is probably the title I can't sign with any document with, but it is the hardest title of all, because it's a title like, if anything breaks anywhere, even whether first is you're
You are the
responsible,
backup for everything.
you're backup for everything, and you also know all the problems across all. Versus if you hire a CTO, probably will be knowing a lot of the tech problems and will be informed about the GTM or other function problems.
But they
when
won't
they're
bother
resolved.
a
Yeah,
lot about
it's and they don't expect it to go ahead and solve it, and you don't feel like, oh, why is this breaking, let me also see how can I help types. So the it is a stressful job on a good day. So I think
And on a bad day,
yeah, on a bad day it's like, okay, you got to rally everyone, it's even worse. So I think that's why probably like starting again maybe. And also one of the things I like is like going all in and pushing it with the highest velocity possible. So I also don't know how to do this slow, or like if something has to be done, I really want to give my 100% there. And so there is no reserve left over for anything as such. Even one of the principles me and Vivek had during the early days, when we literally had no money,
when it was probably just the two of
just the two of us, is like we would not do any side gig at all. Like if we want to, we put our 100% of our time into the company and make it happen. We don't want to do we were software developers, so could we have taken anything and not. So we decided not to do those kind of stuff. So the all in kind of a thing makes it like I first of all, I haven't thought of anything else. I don't even know what I would do of. There is so much stuff to do in developer space, and it's in a stage where it's evolving. And I don't know, the other co-founder, the early stage team, Y Combinator at the right time, all feels like luck. When I look back, it's like right things happened at the right time. I'm not even sure like if they, I can assume those will happen again.
Right.
So maybe that's why like I think I'll take a peaceful life. I wouldn't retire. I'd maybe code more. And my dream job would be engineering manager at Hackerrank.
Okay.
So if I could have a team, I could grow the team, I could focus more, and I could code more. That would be the dream job for me if I retire. Or if not this, that's the next role I would look for.
Got it. Understood. What are the 3 pieces of advice that you would give to people looking to start up? Is the first one that don't start up?
No. I mean, everyone has to go through it once. It's the second startup is what I'm against, maybe.
Okay.
Pieces of advice. I think it's one personal thing I had always for me in my life is like keep learning and have fun. It's like I should enjoy it, which is why the have fun. Even now we do in like a lot of crazy, funny, stupid things among the team, which looks like how is the CTO doing this? Why is the CTO pranking with the interns? So why is the CTO still managing the interns? So I do get my energy from that.
Yeah.
So things I call as fun, I'd keep doing that. The other part is learning, right? There is a constant learning and unlearning which happens. Yeah. So that with startup, and that's advice I give for all. With startups in specific, I think you need to figure out the balancing the ups and downs. It's like you could call it like on a good day, it's super stressful. If things go really good, it's stressful. If things go really bad, it's stressful, because on one way or other things keeps on breaking. It's almost like for me, it's a game where the rules are changing every day.
Okay.
So you are starting to play cricket.
Okay.
And on day 1 or after a few days, the stumps are taken away. Okay. And you're playing without stumps.
Okay.
And then the cricket ball is taken and you're given a football. Okay. And then somewhere in the way, there is on 2 sides of the ground, they have put some net. And you realize you're playing football now. But it doesn't happen on one day. It happens gradually. It evolves. And then once you've realized you're playing football, it changes to basketball. So you're never there and you're constantly learning. So that learning and unlearning part is probably like, so um, figuring out that ups and downs, and knowing that it is a game where it's not on you. The game in itself is where systems are evolving. um, uh, there is a lot of external things can go bad if there is a war in the world, like the business market can be different, so those things you can't even control. So finding that right balance on that up and down is something I'll ask people to figure it out early on.
Got it. Got it. What's the one book that you will recommend? They were talking about this off camera, that is why I'm laughing.
I think I'm gonna pick this book called Influence.
Okay.
Okay, it's called The Psychology of Persuasion, or like it talks about all the biases,
Okay. Okay.
why we do things,
All right.
like why we end up buying things the way we want, and how do we even has nice techniques on how to avoid it as well. For example, it talks about thing called we all, and the book is, after you read it, it feels like common sense. We all have this thing called, we want to, if someone does something to us, we want to reciprocate.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give this, like, you are reaching out to me for the podcast and I was super busy, and then when you came to office, I'm like, man, this person did this, I have to now do something for him, I don't want to let him down. And you could immediately relate to, like, oh, this is what the book talks about, and what are the different tapes where the author did that.
Right.
And so it makes it's psychology book, but all the things we do, it would have a different lens to it. If I have to say, like, one book, for example, The Hard Things About Hard Things is a CEO book. If it's for an entrepreneur, I would say this.
Right.
If everyone has to read this book, maybe this is influence is something I would do.
Okay. So yeah, art of persuasion, negotiation.
Yeah.
How
yes.
people react to certain things and why do they react that way.
Yes. Yeah.
More about psychology of people.
More than how people, why I do what I'm doing. So you would realize, for some of the things I do, this is why I'm doing it.
And then you can either, kind of change what you do according to what you have learned, or maybe you can use that to your advantage to make other people.
The book gives you concept on both ways. Okay. How to use it as an advantage and how to prevent yourself when someone
from being used as an advantage by the other person who has probably read the book.
Yeah, so that's a nice book.
Understood. So I use that, kind of in a subconscious way. Understood. All right. So yeah, Hari, we are like almost at the end of the podcast. Enjoyed everything that we talked about. In the end, we have this section of something called Khurafati questions, which are famous in market. Do you understand what I mean by Khurafati?
No.
Some crazy ass questions is what you can kind of take out of this. Feel free to not answer some of them if you don't want to. First one is Hackerrank versus Hackerrank. Which one is better?
I think Hackerrank came first, so I'd go with it.
Okay. Second, I think you already answered this. That what your dream job would be. You can repeat that if that is what you would actually do. If you get an exit from Hackerrank, a good happy exit in the next 2 months, let's say, what would you do?
I would take up the engineering manager at Hackerrank. I have one question. The team bar has raised so high, I don't know if I'll get it. If the team would hire me, so I'll somehow figure out, like, I have to prep for the role, but that's an amazing role for me.
Okay, that is probably what you would. Yeah. In Hackerrank only, or would you want change of scene and maybe look for some other company? Or
I mean, engineering manager is a fascinating role for me, because one is I also moved from dev to CTO without a lot of these things. Hackerrank is a good company, so I would try there first.
Okay. What would you say is like the one quality? I know you did give some advices. Like, if you reflect back on your journey, what is the one quality that you feel that turned out to be the most important one to survive through these 10-15 years?
I think between both of us, whenever two founders, whenever there is a problem, one person goes into solutioning mode, and other person goes into things are bad mode, and we keep swapping this. There's no fixed role. It's like the person who comes first with the problem owns the problem, and by default the next person has to give the solution.
Understood.
It's always like when you're stuck, what next? And it's not like this is the end of the world. And swapping that role also gives you the flexibility to be the, maybe the call it problem creator and the problem solver, or identifying a problem and then coming up with a solution. Two founders, both of us playing that role, that has made sure that we never give up, because there is someone solving
Right,
it.
right.
There is some hope about the solution.
Right.
Like when we had the
hope is that both of them don't get to that problem
yeah,
mode.
it's a problem mode at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah.
So by default the other person is like, oh, I know the solution. You don't know the solution at all, but you are in that mode where you feel like you are the solution creator and other person is the problem identifier. That has helped all the while.
So then I think you would probably say that having a co-founder is very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I would have done this alone. It's by luck. Both of us went to the same college. We built projects there.
Right.
So when we started,
NIT Trichy is where.
NIT Trichy. Yeah. We actually started with just four co-founders, and then only
is
two
it so?
continued. Only two were ready to quit when we had to start the company.
The other two are still in their jobs, or eventually have they also built something?
They have also built something. They have whatever they have built, they have sold, and now they are in different jobs.
Okay.
So they figured out good things, right things for themselves.
Maybe it was just not the right time.
Yeah, it was maybe not the right time, and yeah, so only 2% quit, and it worked out well.
Got it. Whom is the one person that you probably admire the most? Let me put it this way. Is there anybody that you would love to be an assistant to?
Love to be an assistant to?
Never thought of it this way?
Never thought of. I mean, there are people I admire. For example, Rahul Dravid is someone I admire the most.
Okay.
For multiple reasons, right? There is a lot of work ethic. There's something about giving back to the team and giving back to the country.
Okay.
And still being like humble and it's at the ground level, super grounded. But how will I learn about this being in the assistant part? So maybe it's the people whom I look up to, or people who have put in the hard work to reach a level and still are like grounded.
I understand.
So
maybe
that's my core.
Yeah, maybe you'll need to make a whole list and do the research to finalize one.
I think, or rather, the list was for me is Dravid, Keanu Reeves, and Taylor Swift.
Okay.
So that's my, at least the people list, where people who are at superb level have done their passionate stuff and are like, you could see stories about them as normal people. So that's a core list. Not sure if, though being their assistant, will I learn the skill? Maybe sure. Not. Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. So I think Hari, we are almost at the end. One last question that I'll ask is maybe like, we have talked about a lot of stuff, right? Is there anything that you would have probably asked yourself if you were in my shoes? Or let me put it this way, anything that you just want to share on the ending note? Can't think of anything, no heart, no pressure.
I would say no last question, but sharing with the audience, and this maybe goes one of the topic we discussed, the AI one. There is this what I call this as different waves of technology which has come up. Way back, maybe this was before my time, where back-end systems were all great, and then came front-end, the single page web applications, Gmail, and getting the Gmail license and stuff. Then came mobile, then came the standard AI ML, and we are in a phase where the future is super fascinating to a point where we don't know what it is. Like people can just predict it, and it's anyone guess. I still remember this video of Steve Ballmer laughing at iPhone, like how costly it is, or it is like people laughing at like, why is Amazon never making profit types?
That I have seen.
It's one of those pivotal moment. So looking forward to like more and more like people who are developers, entrepreneurs, builders who are listening to this. Looking forward to you all learning this, unlearning what we have learned in the past, and building the future. Like maybe that's what I'm super excited about. And I don't know, like when I actually retire, the world might be completely different.
Right. Got it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Hari, for coming, and thank you for the ending note. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.